In this video, I will be covering how to solve quadratic equations by factoring. So, as a quick reminder, factoring will be a skill that's very important. If you have forgotten and want to quickly review factoring, if you go to YouTube and search Mary Robinson Math on my YouTube channel here, you can scroll through my videos. So go over to videos, and you can see that each day all my videos are here, but we recently covered right here factoring quadratics with a greater than 1 trial and error, also factoring quadratic trinomials with a equals 1, and factoring differences of squares. So if either of those, as I go through them, if you're like, oh, I've really forgotten that and I want to rewatch that video, just wanted to remind you that those 3 videos were here on my YouTube channel. So, solving quadratic equations by factoring. So, the notes that I have here, this PDF is going to be available on the announcements page in Canvas. You're welcome to print it if you have that capability. Otherwise, you will need to write this in your notebook. On the handout, by the way, we're just going to write in a little bit, and I'm going to work through these examples, and then I'm going to stop the video, and then you're going to go and do 1, 2, and 3. So there will be a video of explaining the notes in 1 and 2, and then you'll have to do 1, 2, 3. Then you'll move on and watch the video for a equals 1, where I will work out examples 3 through 6. Then at the conclusion of that video, you'll finish 4 through 8, etc., until we finish. And there are 15 total problems for you to practice independently. So it says to blank a quadratic equation by factoring. So to solve a quadratic equation by factoring, the equation needs to be in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. And that's in the case of a quadratic trinomial. Or in the form ax or a squared minus b squared equals 0. So in other words, where if you remember differences of 2 squares, it's when you have 2 perfect square terms with a minus sign. So instructions. To solve by factoring, we have to be sure the equation is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. All the equations that we do will already have step 1 done. Okay? It will already be through. We are making sure that they're set equal to 0 so that you can just get used to the process. And then later on, we could easily introduce how to manipulate an equation so that it is in this form. Next, our job is to factor. So I'm going to be going through these as if you remember how to factor, throwing in a few reminders. But if you, again, did not learn factoring very well, then this lesson might be a little tougher. After we factor, we are then to set each factor equal to 0 and then solve. Okay? So for examples 1 and 2, you have 3 to do on your own, but examples 1 and 2, if you notice, these are already factored quadratic trinomials. So that means step 2 is already done. It's already factored for you. So you simply need to set each factor equal to 0 and then solve. And that's it. So you can say x equals 1 comma negative 5, but do not put parentheses or anything around them. They can be written as ordered pairs, as in the ordered pair 1, 0, and negative 5, 0. Or sometimes you'll see set notation. In a delta math, that's what it'll do. So you type in 1, hit comma, and then these brace things will pop up, and you'll be able to enter your second value. And that's all there is to it. So we're going to do this one now, which if you take a look, this looks different because here these coefficients of x were 1, so these ended up being one-step equations. With these, when coefficients are not equal to 1, it creates a two-step equation. So remember, when we undo an equation using inverse operations, we first undo addition or subtraction, then undo any multiplication or division. So we get 1/2. And negative 4/3. It will be important for you to submit your work, which will include all of this. So I'm not doing a video of me working out all the examples. I want you to, in your notes, you'll do examples 1 and 2, and then you'll go to Delta Math and do 1, 2, and 3. If you want to just, if you're able to print it or copy it and you just want to work them all out and then type in your answers, that's fine as well. So just a couple things I wanted to point out. If the coefficient of your x in your binomial factors is 1, then literally the solution is the opposite of what you see. And if you recall vertex form, the part in parentheses, we would always switch that number, right? So if we see x minus 1, one of our solutions is positive 1. If we see x minus 5, one of our solutions is negative 5. But now that only applies if the coefficient is 1. Here, you would actually switch the sign, then divide by the coefficient. So take a look at this. The opposite of plus 1 is, or excuse me, the opposite of minus 1, as in negative 1, is positive 1, and then we divide by the coefficient 2, so we get 1/2. Here, the opposite of plus 4 is negative 4, and then we divide by the coefficient 3, because we're really just solving a 2-step equation here and a 1-step equation here. Just want to show you that, how it could be really easy. So I'm pretty sure you can look at that and go, oh, if that makes sense, then these solutions are, and what are they? But I do want to see your work, so please make sure you're doing that. All right, that'll be it for this video, and then you need to complete 1 through 3, and then pick back up and watch the second video.